So this is RBR short from 13, aka Ryan, and today I'm doing a video, kind of a sad video. Uh, the actor, one of the most iconic actors in history, Sid Haig, has passed. He died yesterday, and it's really sad. I don't know how to start this video because it's just really depressing. Um, but Sid Haig was a great actor, and there's many films of his that I haven't even seen yet that I plan to watch. Um, and if you go to his IMDb, like he's got plenty of like movies still left, movies he had in pre-production, announced, like Sid Haig was always working, and always making movies. And I remember him most, of course, from Tarantino films, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill Volume 2, and then Rob Zombie's movies, House of 1,000 Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell, Halloween remake, Lords of Salem, and he's done other low budget movies that I have seen that were decent. But there's still films I need to get around to watch, especially now with his passing. I'm more eager to watch them. Not all of his movies, of course, were great, but the ones that were good were good. Like Devil's Rejects and um, Jackie Brown, and like he's been given such great roles in films, and it's really sad that he passed. His wife posted like on the news, like on Twitter. I think it was about a week or 2 weeks before Three from Hell came out, and talking about that he wasn't in good health and he was just fighting recovery. And a lot of us fans were hoping he would fight through this, because he Sid Haig was a tough guy. Um, but it's sad. It's really sad. He was a great actor, and he was not only that, but he was great to fans. He always said that fans were the best, and he always respected the fans and appreciated the fans, and he always would go to the conventions. And I think there was conventions that he was gonna go to as well, before he passed. And it's really sad because I would have loved to have met him and got a picture with him and autograph signed and all that. Um, Sadly, where I used to live, Wisconsin, um, doesn't really have too many conventions, to none at all. Uh, so that state pretty much sucks with all that. Um, and more would conventions would be in Illinois, but it would be hard to get transportation from anyone. Um, and now I've lived out here in PA for only a couple years, so I'm still learning the area. So it's really too bad. It sucks, really sucks. That's one of the actors I really wanted to meet in my lifetime, and so many of them are dying now. And it sucks. It's sad. The horror icons, the legends that I remember movies I remember watching growing up, and just how effective that cinema was and how real that kind of cinema was. And now with these actors that have passed, films will never be the way they were ever. You had to have those actors, and that generation, and now it's gone, almost gone. And it's really sad because many of them were so gifted actors. And now I'm not saying that actors today are bad by any means. We still have great actors, and all that. But do actors today kind of live up to, aside from Joaquin Phoenix, but and a couple other actors, but do many of actors today live up to, you know, actors from back then? No, of course they don't. It's not even any like agreement to disagreement. Like this is just like the reality facts. Actors back then were better. They just gave it all. Like they took the script more seriously. You could tell they rehearsed more. They could tell they took the role more seriously. No matter whatever that took, they took the role more seriously. Now today it's just like people will do a movie and that's that. Um, there was more craft put into films back in the day, and now today it's just kind of like everything is a brand, you know. There's no like of course there's art still, but it's not as expressive as it once was, you know. There's more censorship. There's more limitations. There's more sensitive people today that aren't drawn to those movies. In fact, they're horrified by them. Let me tell you, I've been through some horrific things in my life that are way more horrific than a horror film. Horror movies, in fact, were my escape growing up and helped me get through a lot of depressive times. So it's really makes me mad when horror films or violent movies get blamed for that kind of level of cinema, horror movies, because how it helped me get through so much, and I've made so many horror films, like it hasn't done anything to me, not that I'm aware of. If anything, it's helped me get through a lot, and that's great. So Sid Haig, he was just such an iconic actor, and it's sad because I just remember reading throughout the months that his health wasn't doing well, and it was sad, you know. But um, I remember like talking to a few people. I said like, if Rob Zombie is going to make another Firefly family movie, and this was back in 2016, I believe, where I said that if he's going to make another Firefly family film, because I remember being so mad at 31 when I walked out of that. One of the worst movie experiences in my life. Um, why, Rob? How could you make a film that bad? Um, but I remember like if he's going to make another Firefly family movie, he needs to make it now because Bill Moseley was he's getting older, Sid Haig was getting older, Sherry Moon was not getting like older, but they were getting older, and if he was going to do a direct sequel to Devil's Rejects, not like a something else, if this was going to pick up right where it left off and that kind of thing, he needed to make it then. I said like this is his last opportunity, which happened with Star Wars because Carrie Fisher died not too long after they filmed Episode 8, um, and Peter Mayhew died, and Kenny Baker and many big Star Wars actors uh, died very short after they filmed Episode 7 and 8. So they made those movies just in time. So pretty much this is what happened with Rob. You know, he got Sid Haig's performance done just in time. And I read more about what Rob had to go through with Sid's health, like when he was making the movie, that he had a bigger role for Sid. That Sid was the Three from Hell. That he was like the main character. And of course, it went to Richard Brake later on, of course, which he still did a really good job in Three from Hell. But um, uh, it's sad because based from what I heard, that he had to like secretly have him on set because the studio didn't want him in the movie because of his health. And I think yeah, and I read that Sid told Rob that like you know he couldn't make those kind of movies anymore, and so he brought him on set for one day, shot his one scene, and that was that. And it's sad. I read that Rob visited him in the hospital twice before they even started shooting, and that Sherry Moon and Zombie and Bill Moseley were both there with him. Um, it's really sad, but Rob handled it well. Sadly, we didn't get the screen time and performance that we 100% wanted from Sid Haig. Um, that he only had one scene, and then it was for because he had the death penalty, and that was that. And then the story just moves forward from there, and that was sad. Because it always to me was Sid Haig's series, the Firefly Family franchise. That was always his series, always his story. So it definitely felt off that he wasn't a major role in the third one. But because Otis and Baby are such iconic characters, and memorable characters, um, it wasn't as big of a deal as it could have been, because you had Sherry Moon Zombie and you had Bill Moseley and Danny Trejo and all these other awesome actors and characters. You know, but yeah, it's sad, and yeah, just as a horror fan, how he was to fans and everything, and I love the scene in Three from Hell where Sherry Moon Zombie Baby, her character, is talking to Otis, and she's saying, like, what's the point anymore, and they show like a flashback of Sid Haig, and him as Spalding, and like a happier like footage of him, and then you hear Bill Moseley say, like, man had his run or something like that. Man had a good run or something like that. That was, I was very surprised by that in the movie, that there was that form of like drama there, with the characters, because these characters are such like, demented and like the sickest people in the world, Um, so it was interesting that their characters kind of like slow down for a second, kind of talked about, you know, they never thought they would get that far, and then what's the point, and there's no more Spalding, and how Baby felt about losing her dad. That was interesting. And I like that they showed a flashback shot of him and stuff like that. The movie kind of honored his memory at the same time, even though he wasn't in the movie a lot. You could tell that Rob definitely respected that character and Sid's role, and made sure that the audience would not forget his character. In fact, the movie Three from Hell opens with all three of them, in that shootout. So, you immediately get Bill Moseley, Sherry Moon Zombie, and Sid Haig in the very beginning. Um, but for what Rob had to deal with this, he did a good job with Three from Hell. And now I understand even more of what he had to deal with, and why Sid had even shorter amount of screen time than we all expected. And it wasn't like he was given a short role; he was given like a cameo, you know, like a 1 minute scene, you know. So obviously Sid was in major bad health, and it's sad, but at least he left a legacy behind for all of us. And there's films that we will all watch, forever, and of course always honor his memory. We'll never forget Sid Haig and the legacy he left behind, and the mark he left on the horror genre. He in many ways changed the face of horror in the early 2000s. Because horror went through a change in the early 2000s, and Sid Haig was a part of that change, um, with the horror genre in the early 2000s to mid 2000s. And he's been involved in Rob's projects even after Devil's Rejects, Halloween and Lords of Salem, and now at Three from Hell. Like, despite his health, that what he was going through, he still did the movie. He still did the movie, even though it was one scene, he still did it. That's how tough Sid was. That's like that. How much he didn't give up. And he fought till the end. He fought. And it's a huge, sad loss. I mean, he was 80, so he did live a long life. He did. Longer than what many people can say. Like, a lot of people have never even have made it to 80 years old. I don't even know if I'll make it to 80 years old. Not everybody makes it to 80. I don't know if I'll make it to 80 years old, but he was a great actor. He was great to fans, and all of us fans that respected him and loved his work. We'll never forget him. I always will be grateful for the legacy he has left behind and the movies I can watch. And every Halloween, every year, pop in, the House Thousand Corpses series, or I always watch Tarantino films every year, so it's great to see him in those, and to check out more of his other movies that I haven't seen yet. And I think he's got a couple other films that he completed before he passed, so I'd like to see those as well. Um, and yeah, so that's my video, guys. Tragic loss, but you know, Sid Haig was a phenomenal actor, and we will never forget him. And this is a hard video for me to make because it's such a hard loss, But life keeps moving forward. I mean, life keeps going, and we have to appreciate the actors that we appreciate right now, and appreciate them because they might not have as long of a time on this planet, as well. Um, a lot of the iconic, actors from horror films from the 70s and 80s, and a lot of them are getting up there. So we have to just kind of appreciate them, because we've already lost Wes Craven, Toby Hooper, so many, So yeah, that's my video, guys, and I hope you enjoyed. And I'll be making a video soon talking more about Halloween New Blood, and my next two upcoming projects after that. And I will talk to you all soon. All right, rest in peace, Sid Haig. You will never be forgotten. All right, peace.